There's a point in every man's life when he learns the hard way. You can't bend reality to your will. You can't force people to stay. You can't force outcomes to happen faster. And you can't control the timing of life. And the more you push, the more resistance you face. The Stoics knew this long before us, and they left behind timeless lessons for finding peace without giving up ambition. In this video, you'll discover 11 Stoic truths that will teach you how to stop forcing life and start living it. Lesson 1. Live fully in the present. There's a reason the Stoics warn so fiercely against living in the shadows of the past or the illusions of the future, because both rob you of the only thing you truly possess, this exact moment, not the one you hope for tomorrow, not the one you wish you could return to yesterday, only now. Marcus Aurelius, a man who commanded the largest empire on earth, still understood how fragile time was. He wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." These words were not meant to decorate the page of his journal. They were meant to pierce through complacency, to remind him and us that life is vanishing, even as we read these words. Look around you. The world is full of men rushing from one unfinished goal to another. Their minds replay old conversations, old failures, old wounds. Their eyes fixate on some imagined future where everything will finally be right. And in the process, they miss the life that is unfolding in front of them, right now, like a book they never bothered to read. When you live this way, every moment becomes a stepping stone to something else, something later. You eat, but you don't taste the food. You hear someone speaking to you, but you don't truly listen. You walk through a quiet street, but your mind is already somewhere else. In a meeting that hasn't happened, in a memory that doesn't matter anymore. You tell yourself you're preparing, you're planning, you're moving toward your goals. But what you're really doing is trading the reality of now for the illusion of later. Living fully in the present is not about denying the future or pretending the past never happened. The Stoics were not dreamers who ignored reality. They were realists who understood that the present is the only place where life actually happens. When you commit to being here, in this conversation, in this breath, in this second, you stop being a prisoner to time. You start to feel the texture of life again. The air feels sharper. The light feels warmer. Even the silence feels alive. Imagine for a moment, you're sitting by a window in the early morning. The world outside is quiet. The sunlight is soft and gold. You're holding a cup of coffee, feeling its warmth against your skin. The scent rises slowly, and you take that first sip without rushing to check your phone or think about your day. In that moment, there is no past, there is no future, there is only you, alive here, now. This is what the Stoics meant. This is the kind of presence that makes life richer, even in its smallest details. And the truth is, this presence is available to you every single day. You can choose to step into it. You can choose to stop living in the constant noise of what if and what was. You can choose to slow down and taste the life that's already in your hands. It doesn't matter if you're in a crowded subway or alone in your room. If you can be fully here, you carry peace with you wherever you go. So the next time your mind drifts to a worry about tomorrow or replays a mistake from years ago, stop yourself. Take a deep, deliberate breath. Ask yourself one simple question. What is happening right now? Then answer it, not with words, but with attention. Let your eyes see, let your ears hear, let your mind rest exactly where your body is. This is how you reclaim the present. This is how you take back your life. Lesson 2. Understand the impermanence of life. Everything you know, everything you hold in your hands, everyone you love is temporary. The Stoics didn't hide from this truth. They embraced it. Because when you understand the impermanence of life, you stop wasting time on illusions of permanence, and you start living with intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Harsh, perhaps, but it's a reminder that every breath could be your last, and that the people you speak to today, the opportunities you have right now, the moments unfolding in front of you, may never come again. Most men avoid thinking about this. They convince themselves there will always be more time, more chances, more tomorrows. But the truth is, time is quietly slipping away from all of us. The seasons change, people drift apart, our own bodies age without asking our permission. Clinging to the idea that anything will last forever is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it escapes. The Stoics didn't teach this to make life feel bleak. They taught it to set you free. When you accept that nothing is guaranteed, you start cherishing what's in front of you. You stop treating the people you care about like they'll be there forever, and instead, you begin to see them as they are: precious, irreplaceable, temporary. That awareness changes the way you speak to them, the way you spend your time with them, and the way you value even the smallest interactions. Think of a friendship you once had that ended, not because of anger or betrayal, but simply because life moved you in different directions. At the time, you may not have realized it was the last time you'd see that person. That's the nature of impermanence. You rarely get a warning, but when you live with the knowledge that everything is passing, you stop taking moments for granted. You look people in the eye. You listen fully. You leave nothing important unsaid. This principle also frees you from the anxiety of losing what you have. You begin to see possession, status, and even your own image as passing states, not permanent parts of your identity. The Stoics understood that material things fade, careers shift, reputations change, and even our own abilities decline over time. If you base your happiness on what cannot last, you will lose it when it fades. But if you base your happiness on what you can control, your character, your actions, your choices, then no loss can take it from you. There's a practice the Stoics use to anchor this mindset. Memento mori. Remember, you must die. This isn't meant to inspire fear, but urgency. When you remember that you have a limited number of days, you stop wasting them on petty arguments, mindless distractions, or chasing things that have no real meaning. You focus on what matters. You live with clarity. You move with purpose. So as you go through your day, remember, nothing in this world is truly yours to keep. Not your youth, not your possessions, not even the people you love. But instead of letting that truth fill you with sadness, let it sharpen your attention. Let it make you more alive to this moment, more grateful for the time you have, and more determined to live in a way you will not regret. Lesson 3. The power of acceptance. Acceptance is one of the most powerful skills the Stoics ever taught. It's not resignation, and it's not about giving up. It's about seeing reality with clear eyes, without the fog of denial or the weight of resistance. Epictetus captured this truth in a single cutting sentence. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. This is the essence of Stoic strength: to meet life on its own terms and remain unshaken. The problem is that most men fight constant, invisible battles with things far beyond their control. They try to change the behavior of others, bend circumstances to their will, or demand that events unfold on their timeline. And when reality refuses to obey, frustration sets in. Their minds fill with anger, their energy drains, and their inner peace collapses under the weight of expectations that will never be met. The Stoics understood a fundamental truth: the world does not bend to your will, and it never will. The weather won't change because you need it to. A person's opinion of you will not shift because you want it to. The economy will not rise or fall because it fits your plans. The more you fight the immovable, the more you lose yourself in the process. Think about the moments when you've been trapped in traffic, your hands gripping the steering wheel, your chest tight with irritation. You can curse, honk, or imagine 100 scenarios where the road clears, but none of them will change the fact that the cars ahead will move when they move. The only thing you can change is your response. You can choose to be angry, or you can choose to be still. You can waste your energy, or you can use the time to listen to something inspiring, reflect on your day, or simply breathe. Acceptance doesn't mean being passive or weak. It doesn't mean you stop pursuing your goals or caring about outcomes. What it means is that you stop bleeding energy into the impossible. You stop pushing against walls that will never move. You take the strength you once spent on resistance and you pour it into action where you actually have influence, your thoughts, your choices, your attitude. Marcus Aurelius made it clear: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you live with this principle, something changes. Life feels lighter. You stop trying to rewrite events that have already happened. You stop expecting people to behave exactly as you want them to. You stop arguing with the universe. And in that surrender, not of effort, but of resistance, you discover a calm, unshakable state of mind. Start practicing today. The next time something happens that frustrates you, a canceled plan, a harsh word, a missed opportunity, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. Then shift your focus to what you can control, even if it's something small. That is the Stoic way. That is the power of acceptance. Lesson 4. Learn to let go. One of the greatest sources of human suffering is our inability or our refusal to release what no longer serves us. We clutch tightly to things that have already slipped through our fingers, convinced that by holding on a little longer, we can somehow change the past or prevent the inevitable. We cling to broken relationships as if time will heal them into something they never were. We grip old grudges as if they give us strength, when in truth, they quietly drain us. We even hold on to versions of ourselves we've outgrown, identities that once made sense, but now keep us small. The Stoics taught that much of this pain is self-inflicted, not by life itself, but by the stories we tell ourselves about how life should be. Epictetus warned us with precision. It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them. A harsh truth hides in those words. The event, the breakup, the missed opportunity, the betrayal is not what haunts you. What haunts you is the refusal to accept it as it is. You keep replaying it, rewriting it, reimagining it, and each time you do, You sharpen the blade of your own suffering. Letting go doesn't mean you erase the memory or pretend the hurt never happened. It means you release your attachment to the way you think it should have happened, so you can live with what truly is. Think about a relationship that ended, whether romantic, a deep friendship, or even a bond with a mentor. You might remember the first conversations, the moments of laughter, the times you felt understood. And then you remember the last meeting, the silence that followed, the absence where someone used to be. You might tell yourself, if I had just done this differently, maybe they'd still be here. But the Stoics knew that love, like everything else in life, is impermanent. By letting go, you are not betraying the memory. You are honoring it by allowing it to live in the past, where it belongs, instead of letting it weigh down your present. Letting go also means releasing expectations, those invisible scripts we write in our minds about how life should unfold. You imagine the perfect career path, the flawless relationship, the project that will go exactly as planned. And when reality veers off script, the disappointment cuts twice as deep, once from the loss, and again from the destruction of the fantasy. Marcus Aurelius urged us to stop fighting the nature of events, writing, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." This is not about passivity, it's about liberation, freedom from the tyranny of what never was. And then there's the heaviest chain of all, the need for approval. Many men live as prisoners to the thoughts of others. They measure every decision against what their peers, their family, or society will think. But the Stoics made it clear, what others think of you lies outside your control. Epictetus went so far as to say, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The moment you let go of the need to be admired, you regain the ability to live by principle, not by permission. Letting go is a discipline. It's not something you do once and forget. It's a practice you return to every time life hands you something you didn't ask for, or takes away something you thought you'd keep forever. Start small. When you feel resentment bubbling up, when your mind wanders into what if, or if only, pause. Ask yourself, will holding on to this change anything? And if the answer is no, as it almost always is, breathe deeply and set it down. Because here is the truth the Stoics understood. You cannot move freely through life with your hands full of the past. The lighter you travel, the further you can go. And only when you let go do your hands become free enough to grasp the present. Lesson 5. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is not a trend. It is an ancient discipline, and for the Stoics, it was a way of life. At its core, mindfulness means being fully aware of where you are, what you are doing, and what is happening inside you, in this moment, without drifting into the past or leaping ahead into the future. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, confine yourself to the present. It is in this confinement, in this narrowing of focus, that your mind becomes clear. The modern world is designed to scatter your attention. Notifications buzz, screens flash, voices demand your time. Even when your body is still, your mind races from one unfinished thought to the next. And yet, the Stoics knew that your power lies in your ability to return again and again to the here and now. Without that, you are pulled in 1,000 directions and anchored nowhere. Mindfulness is not complicated. It can be as simple as noticing the weight of your footsteps when you walk, feeling the air as it enters and leaves your lungs, or actually tasting the food you eat instead of swallowing it distractedly. These small acts reclaim pieces of your life you didn't even realize you were losing. Because without awareness, days blur into weeks, and weeks blur into years, and you wonder where your time went. Consider this. You're in a conversation with someone you care about. They are speaking, but your mind is elsewhere, replaying a problem from earlier, or thinking about what you'll say next. You nod, but you don't truly hear them. Mindfulness pulls you back. It teaches you to listen with your whole attention, to catch the weight in their voice, the pauses between their words. And in that simple act of presence, the connection between you deepens. The Stoics also understood that mindfulness is the foundation of emotional control. Epictetus reminded his students, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. But how can you choose your reaction if you aren't even aware of your emotions rising? Mindfulness allows you to see the wave before it crashes. You feel the heat of anger before it spills out. You notice the tightening in your chest before anxiety takes over. And with that awareness, you can choose to breathe, to pause, to respond with intention instead of impulse. Practicing mindfulness is like training a muscle. At first, your attention will wander constantly. You will forget. You will drift. But each time you notice and return, you grow stronger. Start with something simple. Once a day, stop whatever you're doing, close your eyes, and take 3 slow, deliberate breaths. Feel them, hear them, and when you open your eyes, look at the world as if it's the first time you've seen it. Over time, mindfulness will stop being an occasional practice and become your natural state. You'll catch yourself walking slower, listening deeper, feeling more alive in ordinary moments. And in those moments, you will realize what the Stoics already knew. Life is not lived in memories or in expectations. It is lived here, now, in the quiet space between one breath and the next. Lesson 6. Use silence effectively. In a world addicted to noise, silence has become rare, and rare things have power. The Stoics understood this deeply. For them, silence was not an empty void. It was a living space, a container for thought, a forge where clarity and strength were shaped before words were ever spoken. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This was not just a call for restraint. It was a strategy for living with wisdom. Today, the modern world drowns in constant sound. Cafes hum with overlapping conversations. Streets are filled with the blare of traffic. Our pockets vibrate with endless notifications. Even when we are alone, we fill the air with music, videos, and chatter from strangers online. We are uncomfortable with quiet because quiet forces us to face ourselves. And yet, the Stoics saw silence not as something to fear, but as a weapon, a way to reclaim control over the mind in a world determined to scatter it. When you master silence, you move differently through life. You no longer feel the urge to rush into every gap in conversation. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself with constant talking. Instead, you let pauses breathe. You allow a moment to pass before you speak. That space is not weakness, it's strength. It's the sign of someone who is in command of himself, not ruled by the anxiety of filling every second. Consider how rare it is today to meet someone who truly listens. Most people only hear enough to prepare their reply. They wait for you to stop speaking so they can begin. But when you choose silence, when you allow yourself to truly listen, You begin to hear more than words. You notice tone. You notice hesitation. You hear what's missing as much as what's present. You read the emotions between the sentences. This is how leaders, negotiators, and wise men gain insight others miss, through the discipline of quiet attention. The Stoics also knew that silence protects you. Epictetus advised, be silent for the most part, or speak only what is necessary. That single habit could spare you from most avoidable conflict. In the space of a few seconds silence, you can prevent yourself from saying something that will fuel an argument, damage a relationship, or reveal what should be kept private. Every time you choose not to speak without purpose, you strengthen your self-control. And self-control is the foundation of Stoic resilience. But silence is not just a tool for interacting with others. It is a sanctuary for yourself. In the absence of external noise, the noise inside you becomes more visible. The restless thoughts, the buried worries, the unprocessed emotions. Most people try to drown them out with endless distractions. The Stoics, however, sought out moments of stillness to face these truths directly. In that quiet, they asked themselves hard questions. Am I living as I should? Am I acting from virtue or from impulse? Am I using my time well, or am I wasting it? The answers came not in the chaos, but in the calm. Start reclaiming silence in small ways. When you wake in the morning, resist the urge to reach for your phone. Sit for a minute in complete stillness. Let the day meet you before you rush into it. When you feel provoked, pause before you respond. In meetings or conversations, listen longer than you speak. End your day with a few minutes of quiet reflection. Over time, you will notice the shift. You will become harder to rattle, slower to anger, and more deliberate in everything you do. Silence is not emptiness. It is a form of presence. It is where the noise of the world ends and the clarity of the mind begins. And in that stillness, you will find what the Stoics valued most: the strength to rule yourself before you try to rule anything else. Lesson 7. Focus on the journey, not just the outcome. The modern world teaches you to chase results: the job title, the bank balance, the trophy, the recognition. Every goal is framed as a destination, a finish line that will finally deliver happiness. But the Stoics understood a truth that many never realize until it's too late. The outcome is fleeting. The journey is where you live. Epictetus warned, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens the way it happens. Then you will be happy. The meaning is clear. Life will not always match your plan. And if your peace depends only on hitting your targets, you will live in constant disappointment. The joy is in the process, in the effort itself, in the growth that happens along the way. Think about a man training for a marathon. If his only joy comes from crossing the finish line, he spends months of preparation in quiet misery, enduring the early mornings, the sore muscles, the endless miles as mere obstacles to the real thing. But if he finds satisfaction in the discipline itself, in the strength building day by day, in the resilience earned with each run, then he has already won long before race day arrives. When you focus solely on results, you make your happiness fragile. It becomes dependent on factors outside your control: timing, luck, the opinions of others. But when you value the journey, your sense of meaning stays intact, even if the outcome shifts. You can walk away from a project, a goal, or a challenge, knowing that the effort itself shaped you into someone stronger. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that the quality of his life depended on the quality of his thoughts, not the tally of his achievements. This is the essence of Stoic living, to measure success, not by what you collect, but by who you become. Start practicing this shift by asking yourself a simple question whenever you set a goal. How can I enjoy the process of getting there? Maybe it's by focusing on the skills you're learning, the discipline you're building, or the people you meet along the way. When you learn to appreciate these moments, you no longer live only for the destination. You live for every step between here and there. Because the truth is, the destination lasts only a moment. The journey lasts a lifetime. And if you miss the joy of the road because you're staring only at the end, you will arrive with empty hands and wonder why the victory feels hollow. Lesson 8. Find joy in the simplest things. The Stoics knew that true contentment does not come from a bigger house, a better car, or a longer list of accomplishments. It comes from learning to notice and truly feel the value of the moments you already have. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This is not a romantic ideal. It is a precise truth about human nature. The man who cannot be satisfied with what he has now will never be satisfied, no matter how much more he gains. The world you live in is designed to make you restless. Billboards, screens, and social media feeds are constantly whispering, "Not enough, not yet, not until." You are shown other people's highlights and trained to measure your life against them. You begin to believe that happiness exists somewhere out there. In the trip you haven't taken, the relationship you haven't found, the wealth you haven't earned. This endless chase blinds you to the fact that the raw material for joy is already here, scattered throughout your daily life, like gold dust most people never bother to see. Imagine this. It's early morning. The world outside your window is still half asleep. The air is cool. You pour a cup of coffee or tea and wrap your hands around the mug. You take that first sip slowly and let the warmth spread through you. Nothing about this moment is grand. It will never be documented in history or shared in a viral post. But if you allow yourself to be present in it, to taste it fully, to feel it without rushing, you realize it contains peace, comfort, and a small but undeniable sense of enough. This is the kind of joy the Stoics wanted you to learn to recognize. Finding joy in the simplest things is not about lowering your standards. It is about breaking free from the illusion that happiness is rare. When you tie your joy only to big events, the perfect vacation, the dream job, the major achievement, you spend most of your life in a waiting room. But when you learn to feel grateful for the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the laughter of a friend, the smell of rain on dry earth, you realize joy is everywhere. You just have to see it. Epictetus put it plainly: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The fewer things you require to feel happy, the stronger you become. Why? Because your joy is no longer fragile. It is not dependent on winning, on impressing, or on getting lucky. It is built into your awareness, something you carry with you, even in the simplest surroundings. This is how a man can be content in both a palace and a small room, because his sense of enough comes from within. To begin living this way, make it a practice. Each day, pause 3 times to notice and name something small that brings you pleasure. It could be the sound of a pages turning in a book, the weight of a blanket across your shoulders, the scent of something familiar. At first, this may feel forced, but over time, your mind begins to scan for these moments naturally. You start noticing that joy isn't something you chase. It's something you learn to recognize when it's standing right in front of you. And when you master this, you free yourself from the trap the Stoics warned about, the endless hunger for more. You stop asking what's missing and start asking what's here. And in that shift, you discover that you've been surrounded by enough all along. You just had to learn how to see it. Lesson 9. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is not just a pleasant feeling you stumble upon when things happen to go well. For the Stoics, it was a daily discipline, a chosen state of mind, a deliberate act of shifting your focus from what is missing to what is already here. Seneca called it the greatest virtue of the soul, and Marcus Aurelius made it part of his morning ritual, reminding himself each day of the gift of life itself. Gratitude to the Stoics was not something you waited to feel. It was something you practiced, especially when it was hardest. In the modern world, we are trained to scan for the gap, the job we haven't landed, the lifestyle we haven't achieved, the possessions we don't own. This constant measuring against what is absent leaves us restless and unsatisfied, no matter how much we actually have. The Stoics saw this as a dangerous trap. They knew that if your happiness is tied only to what you gain in the future, you will live in a permanent state of deficit. Gratitude is the antidote to this restless hunger. It teaches you to stop, to look at what already surrounds you, and to recognize the quiet abundance you've been ignoring. Gratitude does not mean pretending that hardship doesn't exist. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, war, and illness, yet still wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This wasn't blind optimism. It was discipline. Even when life stripped away comfort, there was still breath, thought, beauty, and connection. And these could not be taken unless he failed to notice them. Consider a difficult season in your own life. Maybe a time when you were overwhelmed at work, struggling financially, or going through loss. In the thick of it, gratitude may have felt impossible. But if you pause, even in the middle of hardship, you may find small lifelines. A friend who checks in without being asked. A quiet sunset that calms you for a moment. The relief of knowing you've made it through another day. These moments are not trivial. They're the anchors that keep you from drifting into despair. Gratitude also changes how you interpret challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles only as setbacks, you begin to see them as teachers. Epictetus taught that we should be grateful not just for the good, but for the chance to strengthen ourselves in the face of the bad. That's a radical shift. To thank life for its difficulties because they build the very resilience you admire in others. The Stoics would tell you that gratitude is not a passive emotion. It is an active weapon against bitterness. Without it, you focus on what's gone and forget what remains. With it, you protect your mind from becoming a hostile place. You make it harder for envy, frustration, and entitlement to take root. Gratitude transforms the same life that once felt empty into one that feels full, without changing anything except your perspective. To make gratitude part of your life, the Stoics might have you end each day with deliberate reflection. Before sleep, ask yourself, what 3 things happened today that I can be thankful for? They don't need to be grand. In fact, the smaller, the better. The sound of rain, the laughter in a short conversation, the satisfaction of finishing a task you didn't want to do. Writing them down gives them weight in your memory, and over time, your mind begins to scan for value, naturally, even in difficult days. The truth is, a man who practices gratitude cannot be truly poor, because while fortune may strip away possessions, status, or comfort, it cannot take away his ability to see what still remains. Gratitude is quiet defiance, the refusal to let loss define you, the decision to keep your eyes fixed on what life has left in your hands. And that is where real power lives. Lesson 10. Appreciate solitude. In a world that demands constant connection, solitude is often misunderstood. People mistake it for loneliness, for isolation, for something to be avoided. But the Stoics saw solitude as essential, not as an escape from life, but as a way to return to yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Solitude to the Stoics was not emptiness. It was a retreat, a space to breathe, to think, and to remember what truly matters. Today, solitude is rare. From the moment you wake, you are pulled into conversations, notifications, and noise. Even when you're physically alone, your attention is often claimed by the endless scroll of other people's voices. But when you choose solitude deliberately, without distraction, something changes. You hear your own thoughts again. You see where your mind wanders, when it isn't being pulled in 1,000 directions. You begin to understand yourself in ways that constant company never allows. Solitude is where you can examine your life with honesty. Without the influence of other opinions, you can ask yourself the questions that matter. Am I living according to my values? Am I acting from courage or from fear? Am I pursuing what is meaningful or what is merely convenient? These answers rarely come in the middle of noise. They arrive in stillness, in the space where your thoughts are allowed to settle. The Stoics also knew that solitude strengthens resilience. In stillness, you learn that your peace is not dependent on other people's presence or approval. You realize you can be whole without constant reassurance or entertainment. This is not detachment from life. It's the ability to carry your center with you wherever you go. When you return from solitude, you bring clarity and strength back into your relationships instead of relying on them to fill an emptiness inside you. Consider taking solitude the way you would take exercise, not as an occasional indulgence, but as a regular practice. Go for a walk without headphones. Sit quietly in your home without a screen. Let your mind wander. At first, you might feel restless, as though you're wasting time. But with repetition, you'll discover that these moments are not wasted. They are where your perspective sharpens, your emotions settle, and your sense of self becomes stronger. When you appreciate solitude, you stop fearing the quiet. You stop running from your own thoughts. You begin to see that being alone is not the absence of connection, is the deepest connection you can have, the one with yourself. And as the Stoics knew, a man who is at home in his own company will never truly be lonely. Lesson 11. Flow with life, don't force it. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a simple but often misunderstood truth. Life moves according to its own rhythm. You can fight it, resist it, try to push it into a shape that suits your will. But the harder you force, the more it slips away. Epictetus warned, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do. This is not about passivity. It is about moving in alignment with reality. Forcing life is like trying to row against a relentless current. You exhaust yourself, strain every muscle, and still find yourself being pulled back. The Stoics saw this in every man who lived in constant frustration, always pushing for outcomes that refused to come on his timeline. They understood that real strength is not in brute force, but in the ability to adapt, to work with the flow of events, to use the current rather than fight it. Think about the last time you tried to force something, a decision from someone, an opportunity, a relationship, a result at work. You probably felt tension in your chest, impatience in your thoughts, a restless need for control. And maybe you got what you wanted, but at a cost. The cost of peace, the cost of strained relationships, the cost of ignoring the truth that the best things often arrive when the time is right, not when you demand them. Flowing with life doesn't mean doing nothing. The Stoics were men of action. It means doing what is within your control, with discipline, focus, and excellence, and then releasing the outcome. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that much of life is shaped by forces beyond our reach. Trying to wrestle those forces into submission is like trying to command the sea. You can set your sails and steer your ship, but the wind and tide will decide the rest. When you stop forcing, you create space for better possibilities to emerge, ones you may never have imagined. You stop chasing people who are walking away and start noticing the doors opening elsewhere. You stop obsessing over one rigid plan and begin to see multiple paths forward. Life becomes lighter because you are no longer carrying the crushing weight of making everything go exactly as you envisioned. To live this way, adopt the Stoic practice of amor fati, the love of fate. Don't just accept what happens. Learn to see it as something that might, in time, prove to be exactly what you needed. Trust that the flow of life, even when it moves against your plans, is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. Because in the end, the man who flows with life is not a man without goals. He is a man without chains. He moves forward with clarity, unshaken by detours, unbroken by delays, and untouched by the desperate need to control what was never his to command. Life is not something you wrestle into submission. It is something you meet, moment by moment, with awareness, courage, and trust. The Stoics did not promise a life without storms. They promised a way to walk through them without losing yourself. If you remember anything from these 11 lessons, remember this. Peace is not found in controlling everything. It is found in controlling yourself. The man who can let go, who can live fully in the present, who can adapt to change without fear, that man is unshakable. So as you leave this video, don't rush back into the noise. Take a moment, breathe, look around. Let yourself feel the weight and beauty of where you are right now. This is your life, and it is already enough. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more Stoic wisdom. See you in the next video.